Welcome y'all to Black of the Berry. I am Dean. That is the Madman Los. We have a special guest in the building. He's coming out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
Music City.
Listen, you may have seen him regionally in Shrek, Hairspray, Tarzan. You also may have even seen him at Disney. He was in The Lion King as well. Disney like it was a live performance. It was great. It's on YouTube. Check it out. But then you also may have seen him nationally in Dreamgirls and Sister Act. And then he's currently in Disney's Aladdin as standby for the Sultan, Babkak, and of course, he is also the genie granting wishes. And then he also has an album called Love a Century that's out right now on all streaming platforms. Y'all check it out. His name is Deonte L. Warren, y'all.
What's up? I have to say that's the best introduction anybody's ever given me. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you. I tried.
He's a professional. He's a professional.
I got tripped up in the Disney one because when I was reading it, I forgot to put it in, and I was like, oh shit, he was in Disney. In Lion King, I was like, but then I can't. I didn't want to get it. I didn't want to get it confused, and I just got caught.
Right.
But we're good.
It's all good. That production was in Animal Kingdom at Disney World in Orlando. It was awesome.
So how was that? How did you even let's start right into it. How did you even get into that?
That particular show it's funny because I wasn't even really trying to audition for it. I was the same casting director would cast a show at Tokyo Disney called Big Band Beat, which is one of the coolest things I've ever seen over in Tokyo, and I wanted to be in it. So I was like, I'm gonna go to this Lion King audition because I'm not right for that show. I'll go to this Lion King audition and they'll ask me to come back for the Band Beat show. Lord behold, she asked me to come back for Lion King. I was like, hold up.
I'm not ready.
That wasn't the plan.
You know what? I do have one question for you, since we're on the Disney topic. When it comes to the genie role, can we talk? Because we had Ellis on, and he spoke about. Shout out to Ellis.
That's my boy.
Ellis is cool people. He took his ass off too.
He did. I'm still waiting on my meal.
Ellis. We're gonna make a clip of this. And he's expecting the meal player. But he was speaking about the Genie boot camp.
Yes.
Rigorous.
Can you explain that? Can you explain your version of kind of what you thought of that whole week-long process when y'all came together?
I just couldn't believe that somebody had asked that much of my time in an audition process and was actually willing to pay me for it. That was the thing that blew my mind. Because usually, I've been in a whole lot of long-lasting audition processes where they just don't value your time like that. And so that was honestly the first where my head was, after having, been paying my dues for as long as I had been. I was just like, I can't believe this. I want to work for this company. If this is how they treat people, I really want to work for this company. It was cool. But also, I had nothing but positive things to say about that process because, man, I can't tell you before that, I've probably been, in final callbacks for, a dozen shows. Speaking of that, were you in a final callback for Motown while you were doing the Genie boot camp? I had actually booked Motown while I was doing the Genie boot camp, and I was fielding an offer. And it's another reason why I was like, oh, this is boot camp. These people ain't thinking about me. I was fielding an offer. This is gonna sound super boastful, but whatever. I was fielding an offer. Go ahead,
brother. Brag.
Earned it.
For the Motown tour and then 2 other regional shows that would have all happened at the same time. And I was just really, trying to figure out what I wanted my next steps to be and what I wanted them to look like. I had been cast in that Motown tour as Stevie Wonder. So I was really trying to figure out if I wanted to, you know, be hoarse every day.
Whoa,
hold
on.
Yeah. Bring it back.
So
that was yo. Do you know what kind of flex you just did? We appreciate that because we're gonna take that flex far. We're gonna run with it like we did
it. Yeah.
That's funny.
To be exclusive. So what you're saying is you played Stevie Wonder.
I did play it. So they made the offer. This is what we were in the middle of. They made the offer, and then I might be talking out of turn, but I didn't sign an NDA, whatever. They made the offer, and then they took it back, and they were like, sorry, we made you this offer before we consulted with Barry. You know, he wants to meet with you in person. So they were offering to like fly me out to LA to like have an actual meeting with him. And I was like, you know, like you've already made the offer. I already don't even really know if I want it. Just because like, it's one thing to sing those notes one time at an audition, or even 4 or 5 times at an audition, but every day, 6 days a week, 8 shows a week, with that kind of a traveling schedule, I just didn't know if I wanted to put that kind of wear and tear on my voice. So I really didn't know if I wanted it. And then when they decided to rescind it, I was like, you know what, I'm good. Like, thank you for the opportunity, but you know, I don't feel like I need to go further in this process. And they were like, but hold up.
Like, I'm good on Motown. Yo, that's crazy.
But then they were like, hold up. You know, a few days passed, and you know, they were like, okay, we sent your videos to Barry. We got his seal of approval. We would like to offer you the role again. And so that's where I was when Genie Camp started. And I had already been offered those other 2 regional contracts. So I was just like, oh boy, what am I gonna do? And they were both roles that, you know, would have been really awesome to also have on my resume. It would have been great experiences, great theaters. And so I really wasn't, I wasn't even really like thinking about Genie Camp. I was really just trying to have a good time and, you know, learn as much as I could, soak up as much as I could. It was an amazing learning opportunity because when they're giving you notes, when you're in a room by yourself, it's one thing. And sometimes it can be hard to understand exactly what they want. But when you're at a Genie Camp and there are 12 other guys all vying for the same job, so we're all doing the same material and you're watching them coach the person before you, learn so much. And so I really think that process is why I was able to, you know, soak up that information and really take it on and apply it to what I was doing. So I had a blast. I met some awesome guys, some guys that I still consider friends to this day from that crazy, unique process. That's where Ellis and I met, actually.
Yeah, that's where I kind of like, I heard it and I was like, you know what, I'll definitely expand on it more in your podcast. And you know what? Since we're on, you know, Los, do you have a question or?
Yeah, because you know what, I'm intrigued because we've interviewed so many people who have been either standbys, principals for the Genie role, and usually they're these bigger, huskier guys, and then I see you and Ellis, and I'm like, wait, and I'm like, what kind of is it? The
big boy represent.
Yo, I'm gonna say I saw Deonte live. Deonte ain't small either. He's like 6'2".
Small, but I mean, like, you know, we look
it's
at,
it's crazy because they do have a tendency to cast larger guys. Also bald. This is the first time I've had hair since I joined Aladdin because we're in quarantine. Usually, you know, I got to keep it shaved bald. But yeah, it's crazy. When I got hired, I was actually smaller than I am now. I was, you know, much closer to the weight I used to be back when I was a dancer. When I was on tour with Dreamgirls and Sister Act, I was in the ensemble in dancer tracks because, you know, that was a phase of my life. But I got tired of being hungry. So I let that go. And
a model's diet.
Yeah, man, I gained weight a little bit, and it was, you know, it was cool. I took it all in stride, and it was one of the reasons I didn't stay in Orlando at the Festival of the Lion King for very long, because it was a very revealing costume. I was working out 2 times a day usually, and
you looked
it was
crazy.
great.
I saw
it
those
was great.
pictures.
I've never.
Yo, he had like the 6, like the 8, like it was crazy. He bro was ripped.
And that was about 6 months before I got Aladdin. So that just to show you how fast my body changed, because I decided that I was just always so hungry, and it made me not the best version of myself.
Why do you make it sound like that? Like you were malnutritious. Like I was so hungry.
I was. I mean, it was great. It was cool to look like that, but I was like, this is unsustainable for me, and I was very unhappy. So I was just like, you know what? I came back to New York. I had a conversation with my agent. I was like, this is what's going on. I'm not gonna look like this anymore. If you feel like you can't represent me, cool. I'll find somebody else. And she was like, no, wait. We'll figure it out. And
hold on, people. Hold on.
Because I just realized that there are more important things in life than constantly counting my calories and going to the gym 2-3 times a day, and wearing my body out like that. It takes a real toll on you when it doesn't come natural to you. So I just decided to focus more on being healthy and happy. Even if that meant being a little bigger.
Shout out to the kind of fit, the kind of fit, kind of fat family.
Yeah,
that's
hell
right.
Yeah, that's my tribe. That's what we do. Kind of fit, kind of fat, baby. They need to sponsor us.
Family.
They need to sponsor us, all 3 of us, because Los is officially part of that family.
And I went through a phase at Aladdin, because that standby life is different. You're used to performing all the time, and then I'm sitting in Aladdin, and most of the time I'm sitting backstage. And my first year and a half or so, I gained about 70 pounds, and just recently over the last year lost them back. So came back down to, but I didn't realize I was gaining all that weight because I was just sitting around, and I was like, oh, no. I told myself I was going to be healthy. I didn't say I was going to be, roly-poly rolling around.
Speaking of that, how do you keep yourself ready and prepared as the standby? Because you're the standby for 3 different roles. So how do you what does your typical day look like?
You got to be on
pre-COVID, when I was actually getting to go to the theater every day. I'm also a teacher. I teach voice, and I teach at a high school here in New Jersey, working with their musical theater program. And so sometimes I'd be up there. Sometimes I'd be teaching private voice lessons out of rehearsal studios in Midtown. Sometimes I'd be at rehearsal because, being a standby requires a lot of rehearsal time. Anytime new people come into the show, understudy, pick up rehearsals, there was usually about 1 day a week, sometimes up to 3 or 4 that I was at rehearsal in the afternoons at Aladdin. And then I go to work, and if I'm not scheduled to do the show, or if no one calls out or anything like that, I sit in the dressing room with Jawan, who I think you guys also had on, right?
Yeah, shout out to Jawan.
And we play video games. And
shout
make
out.
music.
Mr. 145 probably at this time. You know what I'm saying? Right now, that episode has been like a couple weeks. He's probably skyrocketed. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. He's been on quarantine. Leave him alone. According to his Instagram, at least. I don't know what he does. Okay. But speaking of video games, what kind of video games are you into?
I'm a very social gamer.
Okay, I hear you.
So, I'm playing a lot of, we would play Switch at work. So a lot of the favorite game is Pokken Tournament. Have you heard of it? It's like a combination. Oh my gosh. It's like a combination of Tekken and Pokemon. And oh my God, it's my favorite game. And yeah, we play a lot of Mario Kart, Smash Bros, and all that stuff.
Legends.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting. So let's, as a gamer, who was your main for Smash Brothers? Who would you rely on the most?
Rob.
Smash. Rob.
I know. Everybody says that.
the knockoff Wally.
Yep.
Who's your going? I'm not gonna lie, because he had the little beam. That beam is serious.
He's got that beam and the spin, the
little toss thing that you throw at you. Yeah.
Well, and he puts his arms out and he does that 360 spin.
Yeah.
And then he punches you once he gets to you, and it just knocks everybody out. Everybody sleeps on Rob, but
not fair.
I'm so basic that I'm just so basic with it. I'm just the DK guy. DK, Bowser.
Yeah.
That's really it. I can't.
The thing I don't like about them is they're too slow. I can't run away
squishy
when I start. Yeah, and I can't get away fast enough when people start to realize that you have all your lives still, and everybody decides to gang up on you.
Yeah.
Now we're living.
Definitely. I stay away from DK, Bowser, because what I mean by squishy is that they're so big, they take a lot of hits. You could just literally beat up on them. It's like 60 damage before you even notice what really happened. You're like, what is going on?
Exactly.
And next thing you know, you smoking. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, game.
Out.
You know what I'm saying? See you later. Drop out GD. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I do have a question just to kind of switch it a little bit. Because I definitely want to get into your touring, but then there's something I do want to address. Before we get to the touring, right? Because I kind of want to do how good was it back then? What was it like leading up to this COVID, right? And then when you're sitting at home now and you reflect back and think of your time touring and on Broadway.
Yeah.
Can you even fathom it? Can you even bring it to words?
Yeah. Because I talk about it all the time in therapy.
That's not funny.
Shout out to you though. Shout out to you for going to therapy.
Absolutely.
Shout out.
It's crazy because touring was really hard. It was they were both what we call non-union tours, and so they were bus and trucks. So a lot of times we would get on the bus, we would drive at like 5 a.m. to another city, take a nap in the hotel for like an hour or two, and then report to the theater for sound check, do the show, go to bed, or not really, because you'd stay up drinking, libations and such, and you take a 3-hour nap, and then it's time to get on the bus again.
On that point, before you continue your story, I do have to know, how was it when you were going from town to town, and then they were finding out, oh snap, old boy is part of he's either part of Sister Act or he's a part of Dreamgirls.
It was fun.
What kind of love did
Sister
you get?
Sister Act was a different story. I feel like we didn't, I don't know if it was because I was a little bit older, because it was my second one. And I had the whole experience. And so I knew what I needed to do in order to stay grounded a little bit more. Dreamgirls, we were wild and I can't tell you how many times we would get to a city and they would be like, okay, we got 4 days in this city. And we were like, 4 days, turn up. And so we're partying nonstop. And we would show up to the show like, somebody give me a Red Bull. Because we were partying. There was several times. One time we were in Wilmington, Delaware, and we all chipped in and got this massive stretch Hummer and drove to Philly and partied all night long.
Okay.
We did the same thing when we were in Thousand Oaks, all chipped in and drove to LA and just partied all night long. Anytime they gave us a sit down, we were partying. And if we didn't have a sit down, we were partying in the hotel. It was such a jam. I literally, some of my best friends came from that tour because we had a ball.
You just out there living your life 110%.
And that tour was crazy. People were getting fired. People were almost ODing at parties. What? And it was a time. We had a time.
Time out. So what is the craziest story
Oh man, I don't know if I can tell it because so many people are gonna know who I'm talking about. I mean, there were bus fights. Okay, so I'll tell you about this one because everybody knows about this one. So there was one time they had decided that we have been working hard enough. We're in the middle of a 13 one-nighter stretch. So what that is like that cycle I described to you of, you know, getting on the bus, going straight to the show, doing the show, sleeping for a little bit, getting on the bus the next day. You do that 13 times in a row. And it's just the most exhausting. Everybody's sleeping on the bus. People are laid out in the aisles because it's just like you're worn out. And so we were at the end of one of those, and we were on like a 2 days of driving situation. And we drove through Vegas. So they decided that they were gonna give us half a day off in Vegas to like shop around and have a good time and then continue on our road trip. Well, some of us shopaholics spent it at the mall. That's what I did. I spent my whole day in the mall. I was just like, civilization. I was so excited. And then, and then some people spent it gambling. And then some people just went immediately. I mean, we got there at like 3:00 in the afternoon and they went straight to the bars. Well, one of them in particular came back on the bus at that night, you know, when it was time to keep driving, wasted. We were like, sis, you gotta drink water. And she was like, water, no, like she just did not care. And so
hold on. For the people, they've been drinking since 3 p.m. And what time did y'all get on the bus?
11, I think. Wasted.
That's a whole shift. That's a whole shift. That's a full shift.
She was some bartender's full shift. So if you're listening to this, the person that got wasted and who's the subject of this story, you know I love you anyway. But
but you were alcoholic.
But this was funny.
We're here because we love you.
In her defense,
you're alcoholic.
we have been working nonstop, and so everybody was like, finally a moment to let loose.
And then also too, how old were y'all? Because y'all were young too.
We were young. All of us were young. I mean, I think I was 23, 24.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We were young. So
24, I was
she
still
gets back on the bus. So there was one guy that, a guy in the cast that she didn't really get along with very well. And they started arguing and I'm sitting with my seat partner, and she's actually, our seat partner is our dance captain. My seat partner was our dance captain, and she was itty bitty little girl. So she would take up like this much space, and I'd be like, you know. And so we were both knocked out because we had been drinking too after we shopped, and I was just like, forget this, I'm going to bed. And so I wake up to them screaming at each other across the bus. He is directly across from me, and she's behind us, like screaming over people at him.
Okay.
Instead of him like being like, oh, she's drunk, let me shut up, he keeps egging her on. And she was like, listen, boy, you know, she kept warning him, you better be quiet, you better stop talking. And he was like, what you gonna do? You ain't gonna do nothing. And she said, I ain't gonna do nothing. And somebody had handed her a bottle of water to like drink to sober up a little bit, and she chucked it at him. On the bus, chucked it at him, chucked it right at him. And then he was like, and then he got all riled up and he started yelling and screaming and, you know, popping off. And she was like, shut up, you ain't about it, you ain't about it.
In her drunken mind, she started a fight.
And he was like, you ain't about it. And she was like, I'm not, and reaches over people, like over like 3 seats, and just punches the snot out of him. We're driving on a big old bus down the highway.
Y'all are professionals too.
Professionals.
and the funny thing is too,
she has popped the snot out of him. And we were all like, oh, like I could not believe my eyes.
So I have a question. What was like on a scale of like like 1 to 5. Like, 1 would be like a regular man's punch, and like her giving like a Mike Tyson.
Man, she put
punch.
her body behind that. When I tell you she launched over people. So there were like at least 3 rows of people, between them. And she launched herself over them to punch him.
You know what? Y'all are athletic. Like it. So that doesn't actually, like in a weird way, that doesn't surprise me, just because of like what y'all do every day, jumping around. And all that.
She's been drinking, you know what I'm saying? So that was probably like a rocket
Hadouken punch.
Yeah. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of like a school bus setting where it's like usually you have like someone who's like, like sit down back there. Y'all are all adults, so there was nothing.
We still had somebody like that trying to treat us like kids. That's partly why I believe there were so many problems on that tour, because they were treating us like kids, which in turn made us rebel a little bit and made us act out. I feel like when you treat people a certain way, that was a problem with that tour. I think, if I'm going to be frank, if I'm going to be candid, it was a bunch of white people in charge of an all-black cast, and from day one they were afraid of us. They didn't understand us. When we got loud, they thought that we were being that we were being
violent,
that it was negative, or But when you put a bunch of black singers that grew up in the church in the same room, we're all going to be loud. We're going to laugh loud. We're going to sing loud. We're going to enjoy each other's company loudly, and we're going to argue loudly.
As you should.
But it's not anything to be afraid of, and we could not get them to understand that they didn't have to be afraid of us. And so they treated us like children, and I think in turn that's why a lot of people ended up acting like it.
Moral story is, don't say somebody ain't about it when they drunk. You damn near daring it.
And then
just
also
walk away.
You damn
away. If he had just walked away, she would never have gone there. But what? But we were young, because like you coming at me when I'm supposed to sit down. Like I get it, I guess, but like we were young. But now we're older and we all know better. Everybody knows better, but now it's something to laugh at. But at the time, I was like, "What in the heck is going on?"
So looking back at that time, right, and how fun that was. Now, what was the 2 weeks leading up to Broadway closing? What did that look like for you?
Nobody knew what was happening. It didn't seem. We didn't know. We just didn't know. We didn't have all the information. I think everybody, as far as when it comes to COVID, everybody didn't know just how bad it was about to hit us. Right. And even up to the day of, like the moment I found out Broadway was shut down, even for that initial 4-week period that they announced the first time, I was in rehearsal at Aladdin, like getting ready to put in a new cast member who never got to have her Broadway debut because Broadway got shut down, and it was for the duration of what was going to be her contract, and she didn't get to have her debut because of it, because we were in rehearsals to put her in, and Broadway got canceled that night. And then like I have all my stuff sitting in my dressing room because I was like, oh, it's Broadway, it ain't gonna be down for that long. And now I'm like, where's that pair of shoes? Oh, at work. Because I left all my stuff there. It's all there. I'm sure they would if I tried, but I ain't going across that river.
No. That's just airborne now. No.
Right.
So
I'm in Jersey. I ain't going across that river. I'm good.
I wanna ask you a question in terms of, speaking of the whole quarantine thing and the corona thing. Lately, a lot of like professional athletes have no muse anymore, so they find themselves rewatching their old games. Cool. Have you like rekindled a new love for your prior performances now? Because you're not performing now, so it's like, have you gone back and looked at some of the old stuff? And you're like, damn, I really killed this.
You know what's crazy? So my live album was born out of a necessity to keep myself busy while being on standby, and so I started creating live solo concerts. And the last one I did was a very different kind of show. I sang some opera, some classic music theater, some jazz, and man, it was have you ever done something so well and you're like, and you look back at it and you're like, that was me? Can I do that again? I don't know if I can do that again. You know, like it was like one of those, and so much so that we were planning to do an encore presentation of that concert and record it as a live album, and it was going to be this coming Monday. And so since that couldn't happen, now I'm say that again.
It was going to be on the 18th, right?
Yeah. So now, since that's not happening, I decided to take the footage from the original concert and broadcast it live for a small fee and expose it to even more people. Yes, and expose it to even more people. So Monday at 7 p.m. I don't know when y'all are airing this. It might be too late. Monday, the 18th at 7 p.m. It's going to be a live broadcast, and it's going to be a live chat feature, and I can answer questions, and we can kind of engage that way throughout the whole thing, and it's going to be really fun. I'm excited to share that with people because a lot of people don't know that side of me. A lot of people are used to contemporary music theater, soul, Broadway, R&B music from me, and I really got to flex some other muscles that are also passions of mine. So it was really fun.
Speaking of flexing those muscles, your album has some flexes in it. Like, so personally for me, my three favorite from your album is gonna be Rhythm of Love, All I Ask, and How Do You Let Go.
I knew it. I knew he was gonna say that. I know he's gonna say it.
Really? All I Ask? That's the track that almost didn't make it.
Really?
I almost cut that thing. And when I tell you, when I heard that footage, when that thing was played back to me, I said, it's got to go. I can't use it. It's got to go. I hated it.
So now you know that Dean likes your scraps. This is a scrap. That was supposed to be on the deluxe. That's supposed to be on the deluxe edition. You like that one.
You want to know why?
That shows how good of an artist you are, though.
Man, thank you.
No, you want to know why though? Because in All I Asked, you were kind of breaking down, if I'm not mistaken, you were kind of breaking down the past relationship and not knowing moving forward how that was going to be, and you even had some insecurities within yourself, right? Now, I didn't have a relationship that was like that, but I had a relationship that I had issues ending it because it just was like, am I an asshole? Did I do everything I could? Was it? You see, so then that. So when you were talking, I was like, yo, I feel you. I hear you. So that's why that was that one resonated strongly, bro.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you.
But you like the scratch though. You like the scratch. He was like, yeah, let's keep it in there. Maybe somebody will like it.
Literally all of my advisors were like, leave it. It's an important part of the story. And I was like, I sound crazy. And they were like, no, you don't. Chill out.
And maybe that's just the perfectionist as an artist. You know, we have that self-doubt on our own art. I tend to be like that all the time. Like, that's all right. And the people are like, yo, that's the best thing you ever wrote. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm like, really? Okay, thank you.
But to break, we was talking about
his album Love Essential. Now, quick question for you though. Can we talk about the live recording aspect of it, that you decided that you were going to do this album as a live recording? The cojones that takes.
You see, I feel like, for better or worse, I'm an extremely hard-headed person. And when I decide I'm going to do something, we're going to figure this out. Like, if it flops, it flops. If it works, it works, And being a person who, self-produces, I don't have unlimited resources. But yeah, I'm a huge believer in God not giving you a vision that you don't have the tools to fulfill. And this was something that was on my heart, and I couldn't get it off my heart. I wanted it so badly, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. I don't know when I'm gonna find myself in another Broadway show paying me the way this is paying me, and I'll have the time and resources to invest in myself in this kind of way. And So, you know, I asked for a lot of advice. I asked for a lot of help from people that are a lot more experienced from me. I pitched myself to a record label, and they were like, well, you don't really have enough of a following for us to produce this for you, but we will be a resource for you. So here are the people you need to talk to. These are the people you need to ask. Tell them we sent you. If you have any questions, let us know. And
that's fired.
They were good on that. Yeah, they were good on their word. So all of the business aspects, all of the unions, all of the residuals that, you know, you owe or don't owe your musicians, like how you set all of that up. And, you know, when you hire musicians and they're in a union, you're not just paying your musicians, you have to pay into their 401ks, you have to pay into their health funds, you have to, it's like a
company
dealing with unions like that. Yeah. So I had somebody walking me through that whole process so that I honored my musicians' time and talent, and I paid them what they were worth, the industry standard. And because I feel like when you do that with people, it makes their work even better. When they feel valued, they show up, you know? So, so, you know, even just the small things like that, I had a lot of help with. But a lot of times when you make, especially these theater themed live albums, you'll record, you'll multi-track record. So what that is each instrument and each voice is on its own track, which is pointless in a small space like 54 Below because it all ends up bleeding anyway. So, but when you have a live album like that, you'll take from 3, 4, sometimes 5 performances, and you'll splice together the best from each night, you know? I decided to do it all in one night. And
like musicians, comedians, no one who does like besides the WWE, no one who does a live show just does one recording.
One take.
You know what? I'm good.
One take. I was like, we get it or we don't. Like, let's go. And
you know what? You force yourself because it's like sink or swim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you sink or swim, and you realize what you're made of. And as a live singer, the hardest part for me was, like I said, with All I Ask, you know, I made some mistakes, and, you know, I did some things that in a live show are completely 1000% forgivable. You might not even realize it happened in a live show because things happen in a moment and they keep going. Right. On record, they stick out like sore thumbs.
It lives forever.
And it lives forever. So I had to like accept the fact that I decided to do a live album, which meant that I decided to not have a perfect record. I decided to have a live record that is a representation of what I'm going to do at a live show. And once I was able to accept that, I was able to appreciate the album for what it was. And yeah, I mean, and be grateful that I was able to make it through that. The last 2 songs, which, I mean, you've heard, are the loudest, beltiest, screamingest songs, we had to re-record because their board crashed and didn't record them the first time around.
Yes, I heard you were on another podcast. I forgive me for not knowing the name. It was another 2 brothers. They're in Broadway as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot too. Jesus.
All right, well listen, we're giving y'all shout outs to y'all. We know we listen.
Yeah, I mean, so when you cross 30, your memories start to go. At least mine.
We respect it. But I heard you say that the board crashed. You had to re-record it, and then you kind of looked at your music director and was like, "You want me to do that again? Like how?"
I gotta do it again. I was like, I just sang C's and D's over and over and over and over again. And you want me to do that again right now in this moment? I've been singing for 56 minutes.
So where did you find the hook from? Like now when you're in those kind of moments, is that technique that's bringing you through? Is that just gutter? Is that just you just gutting it out?
All of it. All of the above.
I'm about to say, because it's a push through to sing for an hour straight.
It's you know, that already. So now you're asking me to sing 2 more songs again? Oh, Lord. And 2 of the hardest songs on the record at that. So I was like, okay, I guess I got to do it. There wasn't even a thought about it. It was like, I get it now or I don't get it. And I've put too much money into this thing to not get it. So let's go.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah. And that's another thing that speaks to the swimmer, the sink or swim. You're like, listen, I'm going to get my money's worth. I work hard for that money. So I'm going to make sure I get my money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's the life of any actor. Anybody that has been remotely successful in music theater has to have that kind of fortitude, just because what we do is insane, and you have to have that kind of mental fortitude to survive it.
You know, speaking of that, you know, kind of like I'm able to, like, you know, I see your character. Your character's strong, like, you know, that's.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I mean? And no doubt. And it brings me to my next point, because you're involved in your union. Am I correct?
I don't do much.
You weren't? All right, because you know, I thought I had saw.
My man Dean does his homework though. Well, I didn't even know
man,
that.
That's awesome.
The only reason I'm asking is because I had saw a post where you were like trying to rally people together, and you were telling everybody, like, call your unions and go to your meetings, because y'all were trying to basically make it to whereas, like, if some of these plays, pick up and then they go large, the original Broadway cast should get continue residuals on the plays. And you were very vocal about that. And I thought that it was dope because you work for the Mouse. So I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I have to, to be full, what is the word I'm looking for? Frick. To be transparent, it wasn't really that brave of me to speak up, because it was a measure that Disney already has in place, but it is not yet an industry standard. Disney's leading the industry in that kind of contract measure, but it's not industry standard, and it should be. That campaign was called #NotALabRat, and it was called that because the way the process in which a musical is developed, once it's been written, and sometimes even before it's finished, if a musical has backers, has producers willing to put their money into it, in order to finesse the musical into what the final product you see on Broadway ends up being, a lot of times they will employ actors to sit in a rehearsal studio for anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks or 8, and sometimes longer, depending on how much money the producers have, to finesse the musical, to get it right. And a lot of times, what ends up in these final shows are ideas not from the writers, they're not from the choreographers, they're ideas from the dancers, they're ideas from the actors and the singers. Things that we bring to the table as interpreters of other people's words end up the words in the script, or the notes on the page, or the dance moves in the choreography, but we don't get paid for that.
Now I see. Okay.
So when that happens, and I feel like one of the first ones that really did this successfully was Hamilton, because it took the ideas of those people to really finesse that thing and make it work the way it did. It was magical when it came together. And it's because it was a true process where they all came together and made it happen. And Lin-Manuel and the rest of the producers honored that and gave them a stake in the show. So they get a piece of the profits after the show recoups its original investment. And that's what we're trying to make an industry standard. And it worked. And so, things like that, I will always speak up when we're talking about the man taking advantage of the little people, and when we talk about having our work honored, when we talk about social justice. If you watch the concert on Monday, I talk a little bit about how I ended up in therapy. And it was, the election of 2016 really kind of showed me the America I actually live in, and how dangerous it really still is for me to be a Black man in this country. And
most targeted person in the world.
Yeah, that realization hit me so hard that I needed help processing those feelings, you know, and not living with that fear. Because there was a time where I would walk around, you know, I'm working right here in Midtown, and I'm walking past cops every day, and 95% of them are just looking out for my best interest. But when I see them, I immediately go on guard and I feel fear. You know, and that it just shouldn't be that way. So I'll always speak up. Yeah, and I know it ruffles a lot of feathers, but they can get over it.
You know what? When you shout out to that, that's facts, because you had made an Instagram post, and I was like, you know what? I have felt those, you know, those fears. You know, you had a cop. You said there's two cops pulled you over, the white cop and the black cop.
Yeah.
And now it was the white cop was just a little more hostile. He was hostile.
He was hostile until he learned what I did for a living and who I worked for. He was hostile. But the second he asked me, he was like, because the way it came up, he was like, "Have you been drinking?" And I was like, "I just got off work." Like, no, of course I've not been drinking. And he was like, "Well, where do you work?" And I was like, "I work on Broadway." And he was like, "Oh, what show?" And then all of a sudden, you're chummy. But you were just ready to, like, he was so hostile. I really thought he was going to pull me out of my car for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could not believe he was being that way to me. And I'm like, bruh, like, I don't understand why y'all don't understand that you're supposed to be here to keep me safe. Until I show you that I'm a predator, you don't have to treat me like one.
And to your point too.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, to your point too, is that it's even more messed up, because once he realized you work for Broadway, is that when he, you know, because that he already perceived that as not a threat because you work for Broadway.
Exactly.
Which is not the case anyway. You know, so it's even more messed up. Two whammies.
And you know what's crazy? You know what's even more amazing is how, you know how we're all so scary, and you know, when you see us walking down the street, especially me now with this big beard, and you know, when I'm walking, the only time I'm outside walking, I have a pit bull with me, so I know I look crazy, and I always got a hoodie on. It's cold. I live in upstate New York, so,
and people ain't right for being prejudiced against pit bulls either.
Yeah, pit bulls are the black people of dogs, man.
This one, I love Brown, but Jesus, like, listen, put you like this. I just took Brown to the vet to get his physical, and the lady, the vet, she was like, listen, I recommend two things. She goes, you can either, you know, get him neutered, and I was like, I'm not doing that. He's too old for that. Like, he's animal school. Like, no, I'm not respecting that. And she goes, all right, well, my dog takes Prozac, so do you want to put him on Prozac?
So he's hyper. He's got a lot of energy, is what you're saying.
He is not on Prozac. He's taking. Listen. Brown is on the herbal diet, just like his father.
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing too, is that because it's not even all dogs have energy. They all have energy, but the fact that this is a pit bull, you're scared about what the energy could manifest into.
Because sometimes it looks like aggression sometimes it is aggression, but all dogs have that, you know, and it's, yeah.
In her defense, though, to make it even funnier, she has the pit bull. No, she has a pit bull. She also neutered him, but then she has to put the dog on Prozac because he has been in a few fights in her town, and it's actually, she had to move because it was banned in one town.
Oh, so she knows.
That's funny.
But not only did she neuter him, but she then put him on Prozac, and he still get into fights. So
but you know, I've done a little bit of research on this whole pit bull thing, because I've never had a pet, but I really want a dog someday. And
what kind of dogs?
And I've looked a lot into the discrimination against pit bulls, and it's because they have this reputation. But because they have this reputation, they end up being raised with these kind of expectations, and so they become the kind of dogs that people think they already are.
The temperament.
We expect them to have that temperament, and so we almost end up teaching them to be that way because we expect them to be that way. And it's a cycle that just keeps repeating itself. But you know, I know so many pit bull owners with the sweetest dogs. But they are the sweetest dogs.
You know what? I don't want to pay Brown to be this vicious thing, because he's not. But
he can go.
under the same token, it's like he's a like when you look up pit bulls, they're family dogs. So very, very pack oriented. So it's like
protective.
He's got about 7 people on this earth that he really rocks with. Like through and through, that's like they can come, grab and do whatever they need to. Anybody else, like even at the vet, it's like he didn't even try to go for anybody. He had a muzzle on anybody. But he ain't trying to go for anybody until they went to like cut his nails. And it was only so he's not like overly aggressive, it's more so just like stop touching me.
Right. and the big thing about Brown when I first got him, it was like I understand that people usually clip their ears and clip their tails and make them look like this vicious animal. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, for me, I'm like, this guy's a dog. I want him to look like a dog, you know? So I want him to keep his ears, keep his tail, because he looks like a dog. You know, he doesn't look like a machine. He doesn't look like he's trained to go. He looks like a dog. And he's just like a regular old member of any family. You know, any dog is going to protect their owner.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
But you know what though? The thing with pit bulls and black people, I think the reason that we love each other so much is that we know what it is. Like,
exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We understand. That's why I say dog. The pit bull is the black person of dogs.
Yo,
it's the plight.
This is a new vet I had took him to, and then like one of her first questions was like, "Oh, like you know, has he bit anybody? Does he bite? Because you know mine bites." And I was like, "Well, you know, the circumstance, like no, you know what I mean? Like he never bit anybody out of malice, no." You know what I mean?
I won't lie though. There is always an exception to the rule. My aunt recently, just about a week and a half ago, had her pit. I think they've had him for 8 years or so, and they keep him outside. He's an outside dog, and he's one of like 4 dogs. But he bit her. He out of nowhere snapped and just chomped off a whole chunk of her leg. Has never been aggressive toward her in all this time they've had him, and
you keep him outside. You never know. That savage is still harboring. You know, you keep him outside.
Exactly. I was like, but they don't know if like maybe he like something happened with his brain and you know he lost cognitive abilities. They're having him checked out now, but he just
from the South. Because I know you're from Tennessee, but
Nashville. Yeah,
because you know what that makes. Because the minute you said outside dog, I was like, yep. Because my family's from the South too, and it's like,
oh yeah.
I look at my dog, and it's kind of like, listen, my grandfather would be having a fit right now.
Fit. Yeah, it's a thing in the South that they state. You know, you get an outside dog that can stay outside, and that is a breed that can survive out there. But then you're dealing with. Like you said, he's outside still. So
we outside.
But she's okay now. She's already walking a little bit again, and yeah, she's doing all right. But that was crazy. It's crazy.
That's crazy. So Dean, you wanna I know that the album is it's out right now. People can get it. People who haven't heard it yet, is there a possible chance that we could just get a small dose, a small sample, see what is hitting for? I know you're probably not warmed up.
Oh boy!
Then again,
oh boy, not at all. I don't know. What song? Oh, it's dark outside. I just look. So that means everybody outside just getting a whole big glimpse of my TV. That's it. They're just looking at it.
I have like my windows open a little bit, but then also like I am a strong believer in the Second Amendment. So if they, listen.
You get what you get. If you keep looking, you're going, all right, better watch out.
This is something I also believe in. In regards, before we actually get into asking you, because I would if I had to ask for a snippet of anything, I would ask for Rhythm of Love. Just a snippet of that. But before we get into that, I do want to say this. Black men, in light of Ahmaud Arbery, we need to understand and know. We need to go out here and keep, stay vigilant, but then also we need to exercise our rights like other people have as well. And
exactly.
That black militia. I know what you're talking about.
We Listen, we need to make sure that we can be protected amongst ourselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because this is just an absolute tragedy. And I want to say it on this stage because I know that people who listen to this, they may not be, they may not be pro-gun, but I need you to really think of it when everything happened with Corona. Originally, everybody was running because they thought that the end of the world was happening. And some people were trying to buy guns legally. And you found out certain place you weren't able to get it. Now we have this situation, Black people with Ahmaud Arbery, that's been happening since the beginning of American history, even before American history. You understand what I'm saying? So we need to be conscious and cognizant, just conscious of what's going on around us. Make sure you protect yourself and your family. Do with that whatever you will, people. But just think about it. Even if you were not pro-gun, just think about it, my brothers.
And to piggyback off that thought, to go a little bit on the reverse spectrum of it is also, I think that we need to see, not even that. I think that we need to, as Black men, I think we need to, like Deonte was saying, is seek some help. Maybe go to a support group or a therapist. Because we're getting pulled. I said this before, Dean. We're getting pulled from so many different directions, and it's just like it's we have to remain solid, but then it's like sometimes you can't, So and it's like as men, as Black men, we're not. It's not okay for us to break down. It's not okay for us to show any signs of weaknesses or anything like that. So it's like, who do you even talk to? You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. And I used to talk all the time about how we stifle, especially Black men that are a little bit more effeminate. It's the worst thing you can be in Black culture. And because of this idea of what a Black man is supposed to be. But even the most masculine Black man still has feelings, and he needs to learn how to express them and how to deal with them and work through them in order to be the healthiest person he can be for his wife, for his children, for his mother, for his family. He also needs to be in touch with his emotions. So I'm not out here just trying to liberate gay Black men or effeminate Black men. I'm out here trying to change the idea of what we call a Black man. I love a Black father that can put on a tutu and dance around with his daughter and not be afraid that his masculinity is going to be in question. Because the most masculine thing you can do as a father is be a great father and know how to deal with your emotions and teach your children that, whether you have a boy or a girl.
Go ahead.
But we don't teach our men that. That's not what we value in men. We value them when they are players. We value them when they mistreat and misvalue women. We value them when they... when I was growing up and I was growing up gay and people were starting to figure out who I was and, what was going on with me, the advice I got was act like it's not there, get a girlfriend. That poor girl, but that poor girl, what's going to happen when we go to, and she realized I don't want her. Mm-hmm. Now I'm damaging her. and then don't let me be a little bisexual and actually enjoy it and then have children, but I never got to explore my full self, and now I'm punishing my wife and my kids for it because I never got to figure out who I was.
And you never took the time out to explore that freedom. Exactly.
And maybe I would have ended up with a woman if I were bisexual, but I never got a chance to really explore all of who I am because we don't teach our men to do that. We let our women do it all day long, but we don't teach our men to do that. And I think that needs to change. It really needs to change.
2020 is going to be a hot boy summer. Okay.
Yes. In quarantine.
In quarantine. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole thing's out.
You know what though? Because to his point, the issue is that Black people, something that we don't even realize is first of all, we gotta fight so much other shit for us to be trying to fight within ourselves over some shit.
Ain't that the truth?
In their own life. Listen, I got an uncle who is, he is gay and he's effeminate, but if the shit goes to hell, I guarantee you he's putting them weapons to use, nails and all. So it don't matter.
If it's going down, it's going down. Like, that's all it is to it.
Besides, like, listen, his nails could be flawless and he's still letting it go. He half blind and everything.
Yeah, but I will say we have come a long way because I live in East Orange, New Jersey, and if anybody knows anything about East Orange,
rough.
It's the hometown of Whitney Houston. It is blackity black, 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 black. And I will walk into a grocery store or walk down the street with my hands looking just like this, and 9 times out of 10, nobody says a word. Nobody gives those looks that, you know, we're famous for.
We've gotten really progressive.
You know, we've gone so far, and I am really proud of how far we've come as a community. We just need to keep working.
Yes, well, to say but still that those pillars of black masculinity and black masculinity still exist. That, you know, that we are conditioned. You know, me and my girl were talking about something the other day, and she was explaining to me, like, it doesn't have to be like this. And I was like, you're right, it doesn't, but I'm like trained and dispositioned to think this way, so it has to be this way. Exactly. You know what I mean? Because then I can't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it just like, and then I'm thinking to myself, is like something wrong with me because this is how I was brought up, and this is how society has tended on me, and I fall victim to the conditioning.
Right.
You know,
and you know, I just gave a TED talk on this subject that should be live by the end of the month. Talking about socialization and when we don't use silly.
The whole I turned on a deal. I turned on a Motown deal. Yeah, I could have been Stevie Wonder. Yeah, I could have been if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Deonte L. Warren, the flex god.
I think the takeaway from that Stevie Wonder thing was that I didn't know if I could do it. So I was like, I don't, this is too much. I don't know.
No. We're running with the fact that you, listen, it didn't matter. You had it. It didn't matter if
you turned it down.
They thought you could do
it. Bag. It was in the bag. You turned it down. So that means...
and then you said, I'm not flying out there either. Like, are you crazy?
That's good. Now that I look back on it, that was a little crazy, but I was just, the only thing in my head was, I don't know if I can sing it. So I was like, I'm not going out there. No, I'm good. But I gave a talk on the subject about socialism, socialization, and how while it is important, there is a time to look back on some of the ways that we were socialized, and you have to really do this this kind of self-work, this self-actualization, and a lot of thinking and meditating and being really honest with yourself to find the things that you were taught in order to fit into society that don't actually serve you. Get rid of them and love those parts of yourself and share them willingly and openly with the world, because to be completely honest, there are a lot of aspects of our society that are damaging to the individual in an effort to make us all start to, you know, to fit in. We don't all fit in. We weren't created that way. We were all created as individuals. We're just as different and individual emotionally and mentally as we are with our fingerprints. We're all different. So why does this thing that happens naturally, socialization, try to make us the same? We should, and so I challenge parents. Because the theme of the TED Talks were Vision 2020, I try to challenge parents from now on to really kind of think about the ways that they're socializing their children. And when it comes to their children's individuality and creativity, maybe we buck the system and change course and try to encourage them instead of steering them into something that might be a little more palatable. And I think that's that's the only way to really attack that issue, especially when it comes to society's idea of the Black male and Black masculinity.
Yeah.
So I just want to interject here. We got our second warning. We got 9 minutes left. So
cool.
I just wanted to update and kind of wrap up here. It's been great.
Or you have a what was it, the scavenger hunt?
Yeah, I gotta go live at 9
cool.
We're doing I host like a game show where people go in their house and they search for household objects. And,
awesome.
So I literally realized that people don't use baby powder anymore because Johnson & Johnson was giving people cancer. So
that's right.
Forgot about that.
I ain't seen baby powder in a minute. You're right.
Yeah. So I had baby powder. I'm like, why does nobody have baby powder? And apparently, I forgot what was it that Hispanics don't use? Coffee filters. Yeah, I was like, I thought Hispanic people love coffee.
It's because they make that I forget what it's called.
Hold on, I got a whole Puerto Rican in the house, and we definitely use coffee filters.
He ain't from the old generation.
Whatever.
I know they make that. It's a yellow can, I think, with red writing. I can't think of the name of it, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
about. I was like, what? I was like, all right, I guess. But
So back to it before we leave.
Yeah.
Get a small snippet.
A small taste.
Love. Just because so people and Los, you know what we could do? Just so we can segue this perfectly. If we could just bump Mr. Warren's episode up for this week, Thursday, so that way people know on Monday that right after this episode that y'all can go out there. Monday is going to be on the 18th, 7 p.m. You go to the link in his bio.
That's right.
His @ name is going to be in the description below. Y'all go check out his episode before that.
Yes. This is Dean right here.
Look, I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate it. And it's the concert is an hour. It's 5 minutes. It's $5 for access to the concert. We recorded it in the fall at Birdland Jazz, and it's really cool. We got some spoken word, some Tank and the Bangas if you're Tank fans. We got some jazz. There's an opera tune with some gospel influences. We're doing a whole lot. It's just some flavors and
range is crazy.
Thank you. It's gonna be a good time. You said you wanted to hear a little bit of Rhythm of Love. I ain't sang a song in a minute. I got to look at the lyrics real quick.
Good thing the concert's pre-recorded.
Right? Ain't that? Let's see. I'll find the key. Can't you come away? Can't you come away tonight and talk to me? Far away from all the world's insanity. Fill your heart with music tonight. Satisfy your soul and ease your mind. Open your arms, close your eyes. Hearts will harmonize, making music in your arms. I'll never leave. That's it. No, I'll stop there because I lost my point.
Listen, if y'all want more, y'all gonna have to go ahead and hang out right there.
I'm like, is this opera? What is this? I don't know what it is, but it sounds great.
Anita Baker.
Listen,
Anita, the classic.
And it makes perfect sense. Why you, Major, and Jawan were able to do the Genie Jukebox and have the whole choir.
Oh yeah. Because you got Jawan in the stratosphere, Major in the basement, and I'm just sitting in the middle.
No, Jawan literally in the stratosphere. Literally, that's
stratosphere.
Not even attic. Stratosphere.
Up here. He'd get mad at me every time I do that. He'd be all right.
Yeah, that's jokes.
The funniest thing during the Jawan interview was when we brought up I brought up your activism, just how you were putting on, and he just was. I think the greatest thing he said was like, yeah, Deonte just has this. Deonte had this ability to focus on the real world and then still do his art at the same time. He goes, I gotta focus.
He does.
Well, shout out to Jawan though. Y'all make sure that y'all go check him out as well.
Please check him out. I love that dude so much. He is especially to be his age. He is, he's got this incredible ability to be 1000% himself.
Oh my God.
And be unmovable, unshakable in that, but at the same time be open enough to share that with people. It's an amazing balance to walk this world with, and I think the world of him.
That right there, you know what? Jawan is, to me, the definition of a free black man. What I mean by that is that's a black man who wakes up every day and he don't give a fuck. Like, he's gonna do whatever the fuck he's gonna do, and
doesn't succumb to other opinions.
Yes, exactly.
Because it doesn't. What does it matter at the end of the day? They're not
and what I love about him is he has that about him, but he also has this ability to ask for outside opinions because he understands that one man cannot make the world. But if your opinion makes him see another perspective, he'll appreciate it. But if he's like, I hear you, thank you for your input, but that's not my road, he'll easily take that path and he'll say those words and he'll keep it moving. And it's just, he's one of the most remarkable people I've ever met. I really,
absolutely. Nah, he's definitely dope. Listen, he is one of the homies over here at Black and the Berry.
That's my boy. I love him. He's like a little brother. I love him.
Listen, shout out to him, shout out to Major. Shout out to Corey too.
Yes, Corey.
Yeah, we had Corey on yesterday. That was a great episode. We'll be that one comes out.
We like literally checking off the whole, like, any of that. If you go on Broadway, you're like,
I mean, you're checking off the genies. I like it.
Anybody, Major coming up, who that episode is going to be a personal favorite of mine. I really adore him as a performer. But then also too,
just wait till you get to know him as a person. He is. Oh my God!
He's
so dope.
Smooth as butter.
So
yeah, cool. I got you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also too, Trevor. We're gonna holler at you too, and got you, player.
You have to catch him in London.
I'm a Neighborhood Goliath fan. I am a Neighborhood Goliath fan. I can't wait for him.
That band is epic.
Yeah. Listen, each one of y'all ranges are absolutely phenomenal. It's great. We thank you for coming on here. Listen. We hope, once COVID is done, we can, hopefully we can, if you have enough time, we can link up again. We can do this, live.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Peace, love, and chicken. I am Dean. That is the Madman Loves.
Yes.
That is Deonte L. Warren.
And I'm going to go get some chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, that right there is like, that's our outro right there.
I love it.
I love it.
Peace out.